Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a new monster skill balancing pack. But before we get into it, I want to try to do something a little bit different for this video. I feel like in this one, I want to go over specifically just what's being changed with the water unit as a water only account. I know a lot more about the water units. You know, there's plenty of other videos out there going over what the rest of the skills do. So I think we're just going to try to focus on the water units today, and we'll try to be as in-depth as possible for what these changes mean for them. It'll give me more of an opportunity to focus on the water changes specifically, which I think will be good. If you do like that, let me know. Or if you prefer that I go over all the skills as well, you know, let me know in the comments, and we'll see what I do for the next one. So the very first change is a bit of a buff and a nerf to the water Macaroon Guard. The stun has now been put back to 100% chance. This was previously nerfed in the last balance patch. So they have added the stun back when she counterattacks with her passive, but they have now made it so that the Macaroon Guard can no longer activate their passive on themselves. It only works on allies. I really like that they gave her back the 100% stun chance. I was sad when they took that away, and I feel like this change is going to add a lot more counterplay to the Macaroon Guard. Basically, the Macaroon Guard is going to be there to keep the allies alive. You can still snipe the Macaroon Guard now. Any unit that ignores defense should pretty much be able to snipe the Macaroon Guard without issue. So that's the risk there. We might want to pair this guard up with like units like Triana. Potentially any anti-snipe unit should be pretty helpful for the guard now. I still don't have one on my account, so I don't know what water units I would pair with her yet. I would like one. She does seem really strong. You know, let's talk about what we think about this. If you have any input in the comments, I feel like this is going to be a much healthier change to the Macaroon Guard overall. I'm glad the stun's back, and there's going to be a lot more counterplay with this passive now, since it only activates on allies instead of the actual Macaroon Guard itself. I don't have one to test yet, but I'm pretty sure the Macaroon Guard's passive only activates when the guard is not CC'd. I think anytime I've seen the Macaroon Guard CC'd, their passive doesn't activate, so I don't think it blocks when they're being controlled. Multiple options of countering the Macaroon Guard now, so I think she's going to be in a lot more healthier state for the game. Okay, and then the next biggest water change is going to be for the Water Battle Angel. First off, they've made it so that the second skill no longer scales with speed. It is now purely attack power scaling. Now, I believe this is meant to specifically nerf the Light Battle Angel. I know it is a nerf for the water one as well, taking away the speed scaling, which I did like. It's nice that they scaled with speed, but the light one was just so insane, and you'd want to build it with as much speed as possible. So I think this is a nerf towards the light one, and in order to compensate that, they have given the Water Battle Angel, with their passive, they now deal additional damage by 3% of the target's max HP per harmful effect of the enemy target, up to 12% now. It used to be 10. It used to be 2% up to 10. It's now 3 up to 12, and so this means they only need to have 4 debuffs on them for maximum damage there. Maximum extra damage. It used to be 5. I've gotten the Battle Angel recently in my last summoning video, and I've been trying her out a lot. In TOA, she is really, really good for TOA. One of my favorite DPS units for TOA now. I have a TOA team that I have crafted together with her, and I am considering trying to make a video on it if you guys want to see that, because I like the team. It's pretty nice. It's basically a lot of just resetting her cooldowns and then letting her S2 nuke everything again and again. And this is just going to make her much better for that combination. So we'll have to see how impactful that speed scaling is. I personally never built her with damage, so I haven't tried her out on a actual speed, crit damage, attack, something percent build. I see this as a nerf to the Light Battle Angel and a buff to the water one. I think I am excited for the Battle Angel change. I think it's definitely more positive. There is one buff I'm hoping they add in the future for the Battle Angel. I think it should be able to work on bosses, potentially. Not at the same threshold, but like maybe if it was half as effective against bosses if they were debuffed. It's really difficult to damage the bosses if you're using her, because her passive doesn't work on the bosses. So I hope they will allow it to, and then just reduce the amount of max health it does for bosses specifically. I feel like that would be really good for the Battle Angel. Okay, now we have the Water Puppeteer. The skill 2 now increases the attack speed of the ally target for 1 turn. This is the skill that reduces the cooldown by 1 turn, gives them 50% attack bar, and now it gives them a speed buff. The Water Puppeteer is already a really strong CC CC unit, especially since she can reset cooldowns and give attack bar to allies, as well as herself. A lot of my guildmates are saying that this is, you know, a really strong buff, probably unnecessary, honestly. Like, I mean, I'll take what I can get, because I do have one. I wonder how much stronger this is going to make Zabala. She's already really hard to deal with, I think, in CC comps. Though I wonder how long this will be in effect for. I wonder if they're going to end up nerfing her next patch if this makes it too crazy. And then next we have by far the biggest change of the balance patch for the water units specifically. We have the water demon. I have been asking for this for so long, and I'm really glad they finally did. They have changed the repeated nightmare passive. They have removed the shield that's proportionate to your max HP for 1 turn, and they have now made it so that the demon, when he revives with 1 HP and gains a turn instantly. So this means the water demon can no longer be interrupted when he revives, which is by far the biggest issue for this demon, because even if you got the attack bar, anytime like someone would proc a violent on you or something, you're dead instantly, and it's 12 turns that you're waiting. It was the most like inconvenient thing, and so this has made the water demon very, very strong in my opinion, because not only does it block violent procs, but this will be interrupting units like Diana. I'm assuming it's going to work the way Antares does. So units like Diana, he's going to be a huge counter to. Like, imagine Diana transforms and is in human form, and then water demon revives. That's a dead Diana instantly. You know, if you've seen any of my RTA videos, I love using the water demon, so I'm really excited to see this change in how that impacts my RTA comp. He's probably going to be permabanned, but I feel like this is really, really big for the water demon. And now it means that you don't need to have artifacts that give him attack bar on revive. I might have to change around my artifacts on my demon, and we'll be able to focus a lot more on, you know, skill 1, skill 2 crit damage, attack power as your HP decreases, you know, maybe increase damage on wind, etc. Because before, it was really, really crucial that you had attack bar on revive for water demon so he doesn't get cut. This also means that speed doesn't matter at all on water demon. So in RTA, I do have enough speed on my demon so that he's speed tuned with my comp. He's like plus 125 something speed, I think. It's been a while since I've seen, since I've looked. But he's around that range to be tuned with my comp. But in battles like Siege or Guild War, this makes it so that speed doesn't matter at all. You can give the water demon no speed and he still will get the guaranteed turn, which is really huge because he doesn't need speed at all now. My demons have speed on them just because that's how the runes went. We will be seeing a lot more damage on these demons now, which is really exciting. I think it's really huge. This is by far the most impactful change, at least for my account, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. I cannot wait to use it. And it's fixed one of the biggest problems of the water demon. There is still one other issue. You know, I hate that due to elemental disadvantage, even though he can't glance, he still has a 15% chance to not crit, even with 100% crit rate against wind units. And it always really, really sucks when that happens. I hope maybe in the future they'll make it so that he has elemental advantage on everything like Theomars, because that would be really cool, make him way easier to rune. But, you know, maybe that would be too much. We'll see. It wouldn't really change that much, though, honestly. But yeah, super, super excited for this change with the Water Demon. All right, then up next we have Chao the Water Dragon Knight. They have reverted the nerf that they did to his passive. He now gets 15% health healed each turn. They nerfed this down to 10% in the last balance patch because they made his passive cleanse 2 debuffs instead of 1. And to trade off that, they lowered the amount of health he healed. And I don't think anyone was happy with that change. It was like such an unnecessary nerf. And so it's nice that they brought it back. I'm glad to see. I don't think the buff they gave Chao last patch did anything to make him more relevant with the debuff cleansing. Like, I still think Chao is in need of more buffs, and I'm not exactly sure what they can add for that, but, you know, I have 4 Chaos. I haven't been using any of them. Chao just dies to things. He needs some kind of damage reduction passive, like Wind Monkey or something. Like, any way to reduce some of of the damage he's taking. Because I think Chow just gets, you know, pretty much one shot at this point. Like anytime, like Savannah just wrecks him instantly. Okay, now for the Water Art Master, they have changed the amount of attack bar increase that we get. It's now going to be 20% instead of 15%. So it's when enemies or allies remove harmful effects, all allies gain 20% attack bar. And when enemies remove beneficial effects of allies, then that ally gains 20% attack bar. I have 2 Art Masters now, and I haven't really used them as much. So I'm not sure how impactful this passive is going to be. I use one in R5 on just like mega fight runes, just for all the extra damage, because he does have a 50% attack lead for water units, which is really nice for situations like R5. So I am interested to see how good this is going to be. All right, and then we have the Water Beast Rider. So they are buffing the 3rd skill of the Water Beast Rider. So they've increased the amount of attack bar that allies gain based off the damage that this skill does to the enemy. The ratio is now going to be a lot higher, so allies gain more attack bar. Now, I personally don't like the Water Beast Rider. I feel like I don't know. I think she's the weakest beast rider of the family, and I think she needs some significant buffs to make her impactful. Like her 3rd skill, they nerfed the 3rd skill a long time ago, and it used to be 3 debuffs to ignore defense. Now it's 4. So I feel like that should be reverted. Definitely needs way more than this to be impactful. Okay, and then next up we have, I think probably the second most exciting change of this whole balance patch, I think for me, is for Cassandra, the Water Assassin's Creed units, the 4-star one. They're changing the Visions of Athena 2nd skill. They're adding an effect to it. So now when she does the AoE defense break, it now increases her attack bar by 100% after using the skill. So it's not a guaranteed turn, but it does refill her attack bar. And so this makes it so that she could potentially defense break into S3 nuking something. With the amount of damage that this 3rd skill does to wind units, all she needs is defense break. And so it's really going to be impactful for her against wind units, which for my whole account, that is insane. Like I definitely need more wind unit killers. Now, the one issue here is that the 2nd skill is not a 100% chance to defense break. It goes up to 80%. So there's always going to be a 20% chance that you miss defense break, which makes it very inconsistent. I think it should be a 100% chance to defense break. I don't like that it's not a 100% chance. I hope they make it 100% in the future. But now that it gives her 100% attack bar, like the amount of cycling this unit's gonna have is really wild. I wonder if that gives potential for runing her up on violent runes now. Personally, I have mine on rage just because I want as much crit damage as possible for this unit. But I wonder if violent is gonna be the way to go with the amount of cycling she'll get. I'll have to test it out. I actually am planning on making a video of the Water Cassandra. I had a team comp in mind, and this buff actually makes it so that my team comp needs to be changed now. I ruined up a violent Konamiya, and I was going to give her the attack bar with attack buff, so she defense break and then get the turn with attack buff. But now I don't know if that's necessary anymore. I'm back to the drawing board a little bit on that. We can expect a video on her at some point soon, because that unit is going to be really good, I believe. And then we have the Water Baek. This is a unit that I got right away, built it. I haven't skilled it up yet, I don't think, because I learned pretty quick that this unit sucks. It's not a very good unit, I don't think. So they have now made it so that his 2nd skill, it now decreases the enemy's attack bar by 75% with an 80% chance, and increases your attack bar by the amount of the enemy's attack bar decreased. So basically this is attack bar absorption. It has the same effects. So the more of their attack bar you decrease, the more you gain, which does add cycling for this unit, which I think will be nice. However, I do not know how this will work on wind units specifically, because I don't think he reduces the attack bar if he glances, I'm pretty sure. So it's not really going to help us there. It leaves the unit with not being very useful. Like if this unit could perma control wind units, that would be amazing for me for like TOA bosses or something. But otherwise, it's not really helpful for a water account, I don't think. So I don't know if we'll be getting a video on this unit anytime soon. It's just really not that great. I ruined him up pretty well, and he wasn't performing well. So next up, we have a change for the Water Succubus. We remember the Special League this time around is going to be 4-star Special League. So we're getting a decent amount of 4-star changes as well on top of this, just to make some more units viable. Cobble in that. And so they're making the water succubus her third skill. It now absorbs the enemy's attack bar by 25%. And this is a skill that attacks 4 times. So she now has a 100% attack bar absorption effect, but it is based off of resistance and such. So it's not always going to reduce full, but it is going to reduce a very solid amount. Her third skill is really good for controlling units. And she actually got another buff on top of that. The second skill of the water succubus, and for the rest of them as well, now puts the enemy target to sleep for 1 turn. So now every single skill of the succubus can sleep units, and it says put the enemy target to sleep for 1 turn. Does that mean that it's guaranteed to do this? I wonder. I'm also curious about the second skill in that it does 50% more damage based off of if the target is sleeping. So what is the order of that? Will the skill sleep them and then do the damage, which will then increase the damage of the skill? Or is it, once again, only if they're sleeping and then you use the skill, it does the increased damage? I wonder what the order of that is for the activation rate. So we'll have to test that out and see. I think definitely the water succubus is going to be a lot stronger for Special League this time around. She does have a speed lead as well, 24% speed lead. And then we have a interesting change for the Cobble bombers. So it's the same for most of the Cobble bombers. They have made it so these skills are no longer crushing hits. They now won't land as a glancing hit. I don't know if Come To Us is wanting to stray away from crushing hits, but I'm trying to think about what this really changes. So they increased the damage by 10%, and it now makes it so that the bombers can potentially be built on a crit damage build. However, they're bombers, so you want as much attack power as possible. It's why it's kind of confusing to me. The crushing hit did kind of make sense because the crushing hits only scale with attack power. If they wanted to buff this skill in that way, I feel like they should have just increased the amount of damage it did with crushing hits and left it like that. Maybe the skill 3 ratios are going to be so high that putting them on crit rate, crit damage is going to be really impactful. So I'd be interested to see, because I don't use the water Cobble bomber. So if there was more of a use for using this unit, that would be nice. I know his S3 does defense break and attack buff break. Then they've also changed the bomb portion. It now increases your attack bar by 10% per bomb you've installed on the enemy. So you can get up to 40% attack bar in Arena, and I guess 30% in Guild Wars Siege, and up to 50 in TOA. And we'll have to see how impactful that's going to be. I'm sure the light one is going to be kind of wild with it. As for the water one, I don't know how useful it's going to be, but you know, a buff's a buff, so I'll take it. Next we have probably maybe the third most exciting change. I don't know if this is better than the Cassandra change actually, but they are changing the water Rakshasa, and they are removing the extra damage dealt to enemies that are immune to stun, and they are now making it so that the Rakshasa attacks the enemy to inflict damage and increases the attack bar by the ratio of HP lost by the enemy by this attack. It's guaranteed to stun the target for 1 turn if the enemy is granted with a harmful effect, and it decreases the skill cooldown of Delicate Whip by 1 turn if you defeat the enemy. So potentially this is set up so that if the Rakshasa 100 to 0 something, she will gain full attack bar, and it will decrease the cooldown of Delicate Whip, which I believe is enough for her to then use the skill again and cycle through one-shotting things. But they took away the extra damage, so she doesn't do extra damage to bosses anymore. She isn't useful for that, which I don't know if it's a shame. I did like to use her against bosses, but now I won't be doing that anymore. Because like in R5, she did a decent amount of damage with her third skill. Or units like the Light Dragon Knight, she could do a lot of damage to them. And then the final change is to Orion, the Brownie Magician. They are changing the second skill. It's no longer a crushing hit. It is now, this attack won't land as a glancing hit. And they're increasing the damage by 13%, but I think it's going to end up with less damage overall because crushing hit does more than like a normal hit. Again, with this and the Cobble bombers, I wonder if they're trying to make it so that crushing hits aren't as much of a thing anymore. I actually did prefer the crushing hit for Orion. I really liked that against Miho, the Dark Martial Cat. It's really nice having a guaranteed not crit skill against Miho. You know, this isn't a unit that you build with damage on, so you don't really care about him critting. Maybe this will be the start of crit rate, crit damage Orion, so you just go. I kind of think of this as a nerf, but it's only for that scenario. Like, it's not gonna end up being too negative for Orion in the long run. I don't really think this changes anything for the unit. I just wonder why come to us is, you know, switching out the Cobble bombers and the brownies here with the crushing hits. You know, let me know what you guys think about this, like these changes, in the comments down below. And also, what did you think about the format for this video? Do we like me going over only the water changes? It'll be giving me a lot more time to just be really thorough with these water changes. You know, it saves me the talking about other elemental units that I haven't really tried out myself. While I am familiar with almost all the units, it's just, I thought like this would be a bit better. They actually changed a good amount of water units this patch. And again, Water Demon being the most impactful, I am so ready to make use of this Water Demon. I'm actually really excited. I have one already max skilled up that I've been using, been loving, and I have a second one that I have built, but I haven't skilled it up yet, which I definitely will be skilling up now, because they have made this unit really good, and I am super ready. But alright, that is going to be the end of this balance patch. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you all in the next video. Alright, bye everybody.